everybody, so what is your weakness? Let's talk about that question, starting with how to answer it. If you're in a job interview and somebody asks you, what is your weakness? A great answer that tends to work really well is to say, I've got some very high standards. And unfortunately, not everybody shares those standards, which can sometimes lead to some conflict with some coworkers. But what I found is that with a little bit of good communication, I can smooth that over and it's never ever a problem. So that's an example. What I'm basically doing here is I'm working off a template, and the template goes good, bad, good. I do this good thing, but it can sometimes lead to this bad thing. But then I do this other good thing, and that solves the problem completely. Now, some of the more in tune people here might recognize that there's a couple of things going on. Okay, number one, I'm not actually giving a real weakness. It's more of something bad that happens because I did something good. And the other thing that's going on is I'm using this question as a platform to talk about my strengths, not my weaknesses. Look, between you and me, if you've identified your own weakness or weaknesses, that's awesome. And if you've gone a step further and you've tried to actually address and compensate for your own natural weakness or weaknesses, you're a rock star. If you're watching this right now, you're a rock star if you've done that, okay? But the problem is that if you're saying this to somebody who has just met you, they don't know you. They don't know that you're a good person. They don't know that you're a good employee. Okay, they've only just met you, so they're getting their first impression. And if you start talking about a genuine weakness that you have, like for example, they say, what is your weakness? And you say, well, I tend to feel really extreme anxiety when I got to deal with people that I don't know who are also very negative. It affects my work and it affects my dedication to the job. That might be true, but if you say that under these circumstances, they're going to paint you with that brush, okay? That's the first impression. And especially in the early stages of the interview process, where they don't have a lot of time to get to know each candidate, they're probably going to eliminate you because of it. Now, to really understand this, understand this concept, we got to get into the recruiter's perspective, okay? We got to look at what recruiters do. Recruiters, for every job that's posted, they usually start with over 100 candidates a lot of times. And their job is to filter those candidates down until they're left with one. And that's who they hire. Okay, so this is basically an elimination game. Now, as I said, in the opening rounds, they don't have a lot of time to really spend on each candidate. So if they come across a red flag, it's usually going to mean elimination. Now, the recruiters are going to be asking you two types of questions in a job interview. They're going to be asking you questions to see if you meet the job requirements, and they're going to be asking questions to see if there's any red flags. Okay, and this question here, what is your weakness? That's the king of the red flag questions. So if you play right into their hand and they say, what is your weakness? And you tell them all about your weaknesses, usually it's going to get you eliminated. Now, there are many variations of this question. They might not say literally, what is your weakness or what are your weaknesses? They can phrase it any number of different ways. There's many ways to phrase this question, but basically they're asking, what is a bad thing about you? That's what they're asking. So whenever they ask that question, you can give them this answer, and chances are you will never be eliminated by this question ever again. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. You're awesome. Take care.